Golf Central on YouTube, brought to you by TaylorMade.
There was obviously a lot of highs and a lot of lows. Very frustrated about some of the decisions we made and some of the shots I executed. It just felt like I hit really good shots that just didn't get rewarded today. Driver got a little wayward, a couple holes. I need to go clean that up like always. And I'm always trying to find a little something to make me hit it more consistently straight. But if I can keep hitting it straight, hitting some greens and making the putts like I am, it's going to be a fun week.
After the one and par on the front nine, was there something like a moment that kind of sparked that back nine run before the bogey came?
Not really. It just kind of happened. I mean, I'm again trying to be the casino and give myself the best opportunity to win. I mean, having 9-iron into those par fives, it's definitely nice to be able to attack par five flags rather than kind of move away from them. And there's a couple holes where I can get it up close to the green and just chip it on there and make a putt. So. I just got to keep hitting my driver good and get even more comfortable with the driver, and if that happens, it's going to be a fun week.
One eagle, 8 birdies and 4 bogeys on the day. Kind of risk-reward feeling you get for him, because when he's good, he's really good, and perhaps misses them occasionally. What I find so interesting hearing him talk, Nota, is it's like he never gives up. He's always grinding. He's trying to self-correct on the golf course, in the evening in his hotel room. Look, I know all professional golfers work really hard, but there's something about his attitude that is kind of never say no.
Yeah, I don't think he takes many days off. I mean, I've seen him working out at Dallas National when I've been down there working on my own game. And he's always trying to focus on one particular element of his game to get a little bit more of a performance out of that. Now, mind you, he hasn't played with this particular style or this much power for a long time, so he's still collecting information. He's still evaluating data round after round, shot after shot, and I think you're going to see him start to make some unique adjustments for him to be able, whether it's equipment in the bag or whether it's a different type of modified swing on some of the shorter shots, so that he can both produce the power and the finesse that are required to win out here.
It's always interesting talking to Rickie Fowler. He gives you a lot of details, and he loves to dive into the golf swing and the mechanics. We first talked with him back in January, late January at the Farmers Insurance Open, and really about the swing changes that he's made with his new swing coach, John Tillery. He told us back then, and look, anybody who has followed Rickie Fowler over the years, previously with Butch Harmon and now with Tillery, just getting the upper and the lower bodies to sequence upright, and because of that, sometimes he'll get that golf club stuck a little bit behind him. So that's still the process that he's working on, although a bit different with Tillery. He said he spent some time last week after missing a couple cuts working with John and Jupiter and really trying to get the sequencing to match up again.
At first it was pretty different because I was trying to just change some of my sequencing. I felt like the way my body was working, at the top of the swing, you want the legs to kind of drive everything, the torso, and then the arms follow. And with the club being, I was just getting too deep and behind me and having to kind of pull the club back out in front of me. So the hands were starting before anything. So I was just out of sequence. So that's kind of been the biggest thing, is kind of almost reprogramming and at the same time working on getting the club more out in front of me.
And as Nota was talking about, he certainly did a better job with the iron play today. They were absolutely phenomenal at the top of the field in terms of proximity. He did say, and Nota mentioned that new driver shaft in his big club. It was something that he said if there was anything he would like to clean up a little bit, it is still that golf club. And like as Nota can explain better, when you get to the longer clubs in the bag, it's just easier to get stuck. But everything with Rickie Fowler in terms of what we saw today certainly looked exceptional. Of course, that putting, always a thrill to watch.
I've come off 2 good finishes, and a really good finish last year at this event, which has never really happened to me. So I've never had this kind of expectation externally or even internally if I let it. So just trying to make it the same as every other week. I think I feel very comfortable because I've played well here and been here, and so it just comes down to playing golf and doing the best I can.
Well, he birdied 7 of his last 8 holes. That's a pretty nice way to finish. You think about coming back to a place with good memory. What he did last year, he might not have got the win, but that runabout finish did secure his special temporary for the rest of the season. And then in the rest of the season, he managed to gain membership going forward for this year. So no matter what the recent form has been, in his case trending, it must help returning to a layout like this where you know you can play well.
Yeah, and there's different levels of performance out here. I mean, there's players that have 1 or 2 good weeks and they're able to maintain their status. There's players that do it through more consistent performance and wearing out the top 25, and there's players that come out here and contend and win on a regular basis. And I think that Doc Redman right now falls into that category to where he has a couple hot weeks each year, which allows him to maintain his status. And regardless of how you do it, whether you're a consistency top 10, top 25, or you're doing it with 1 or 2 good weeks a year, I don't really care. You're keeping your status, you're playing at the highest level, and if you just look at his streaks as the last 7 rounds coming into this week were all in the 60s. He followed that up, last week with a final round 63 at the Travelers. So he was building momentum and confidence, and it's no surprise he comes out here and puts himself right in contention.
I felt good when I was out there. Very comfortable on Donald Ross, and it'll be interesting to see how the course changes over the next few days. I referenced in the other interview how firm it was off the tee and how short the golf course played last year. It wasn't playing near as short as it was, but with the forecast and everything that is in, it could get there. But the greens are still super receptive, and you have a ton of wedges and having a lot of opportunities to make birdies.
I was solid. I struck it awesome all day, hitting all my lines, hitting the shot shapes I wanted to hit, and finally been struggling with the putter, and finally got it going there on the back 9. Made a bunch in the 6-8 foot range, and then made a nice one on 7 from about 15 feet. So really good way to finish with a nice par putt on the last hole, and ready to get back after it in the morning.
The only one of the 3 actually to go around bogey-free today with his 7-under par that he put up on the board. And like Fowler, Kisner comes into this week having missed the cut in his last 2 starts. This strikes me as a Kiz-style golf course. Do you think it suits him?
Well, I think it's going to suit both styles of player. Kiz is a position player. He has to hit fairways and he has to get the putter going. Those are the 2 main things that have to happen, because he's not going to wear you out with length. Where Bryson DeChambeau was averaging over 330 yards off the tee, that's not going to be Kiz's game. And so I think Kiz has been out here long enough to understand where his strengths are and where his opportunities lie. And when you get off to a quick start like this, you're going to see him go out there and you're going to see him fight for every stroke. And I think that's just fits right into his wheelhouse. And he does need something to turn sort of his year around, which coming off of that huge WGC win last year hasn't seen a ton of success since.